Teaching with Poverty in Mind, Book Report and Review by Lily Yates. Poverty, according to Eric Jensen, who wrote this book, is a chronic and debilitating condition that results from multiple adverse synergistic risk factors and affects the mind, body, and soul. Throughout the book, we learn that poverty is something that greatly affects a student and potentially their behavior in the classroom and their academic growth. Throughout the book, Jensen's main premise is that we have the ability to change and shape our students who are living in poverty for the better. We are able to manipulate their behavior while also helping them achieve academic growth and success. In the beginning, we learned what poverty is, and then Jensen moves on to talk about relationships and their importance. The three strong relational forces that drive all students' behavior are a drive for reliable relationships, strengthening of peer socialization, a quest for importance, and social status. Jensen asserts that it is our job as teachers to recognize these forces in students and tap into them to create the best and most successful and effective environment for our students. We can do this by embodying respect, embedding social skills, and creating an inclusive classroom setting. Next, we learn about poverty, chronic stress, and how that affects students' performance in the classroom. Poverty naturally results in chronic stress. This can greatly affect behavior and academic performances, leading to absences, impaired attention and concentration, reduced cognition, creativity and memory, diminished social skills and judgment, reduced motivation, determination and effort, increased likelihood of depression, and reduced neurogenesis. Jensen equips us with the tools to combat these stressors and increase academic growth and good behavior in the classroom. He first tells us to recognize the signs. Second, he tells us to alter the environment in the classroom. And third, he tells us to empower our students. Next, we learn about brains and how they are designed to change. There are variances in IQ that are attributable to epigenetic factors and oftentimes things such as living conditions, early childhood experiences, and the amount and duration of schooling. But we, as teachers, have the power to change IQ by fostering and teaching fluid intelligence. To get dramatic results when changing the brain for the better, we must upgrade students' brains' operating systems. Jensen states, "What works is to acknowledge that the human brain is designed to change from experiences, and that if we design enough high-quality experiences, over time we will get positive change." Jensen asserts that in order to change our students and help with their IQ and their brain's operating systems, we should abstain from the following: focusing on only the basics in the classroom, maintaining order through a show of force, eliminating or reducing time for arts, sports, and physical education, increasing and intensifying classroom discipline, decreasing interaction among students, installing metal detectors, and delivering more heavy-handed top-down lectures. In chapters 5 and 6 of the book, we learn about two acronyms, both of which are called SHARE. One is first applicable to the school as a whole. This one is support of the whole child, hard data, accountability, relationship building, and an enrichment mindset. We are to support the whole of the child to help them succeed, collect hard data to help them succeed, hold our teachers accountable in order to help our students and our teachers succeed, build relationships between our teachers and staff, and then also between students and their peers and students and teachers. As far as enrichment mindsets are concerned, we are to an enrichment mindset. We are supposed to engage our students in activities that enrich their mindset and help our teachers learn how to do so. Next, we learn the SHARE acronym for the classroom, which includes a standards-based curriculum and instruction, hope building, arts, athletics, and advanced placement, retooling of the operating system, and engaging instruction. A standards-based curriculum and instruction is what guides most of our schools today. We are to take this for what it is and to include it in our classroom and make the most of it. Hope building is to foster hope among our students. Without hope, they cannot achieve what they have dreamed of. Arts, athletics, and advanced placement are critical in schools and should not be left behind or an afterthought. They can promote all sorts of things, including challenge and neurogenesis. Retooling of the operating system is similar to what we talked about in Chapter 3, where we are to help retool the brain's operating system, and in that way we can increase IQ. And then lastly, we have engaging instruction. Engaging instruction is differentiated instruction that allows us to engage students in a way that they would not otherwise be engaged. Jensen has several notes about classroom management throughout the book, but these are the quotes that I found to be the most interesting and applicable to what we have learned in class. The first is, change your mindset and start thinking about ways you can engage their minds and emotions. Engaged kids stay out of trouble, bored kids get into mischief. Engagement can result from fun games, intellectual challenges, social interactions, and your own enthusiasm. Last but not least, one of the most powerful ways to engage students is to let them take charge of their own learning. Now, here are some classroom management tools that we can implement in order to make it so that our students grow academically and are also well behaved. Jensen suggests incorporating movement into the classroom and drama, group work, positive reinforcement, and then learning by making mistakes rather than being lectured at or immediately told the correct solution. Furthermore, he advises us to provide an environment that provides for plenty of changes to make mistakes and errors. Now for my review of the book. Chapters 1 and 2 of the book, I found them to be incredibly bleak, especially Chapter 1. They made it seem as though students, every student, who are born into poverty are naturally destined to have behavioral issues and low academic performance. Jensen also insinuates that poverty is an endless cycle when the whole premise of his book is the notion that the poverty cycle can in fact be broken. I did appreciate Jensen's definition of and elaboration on poverty in Chapter 1. It was a good refresher course, if you can call it that. Now, as far as Chapter 2 is concerned, I did appreciate Jensen's focus on the importance of social relationships. As we have learned throughout this course, especially in Chapter 7 of Sprick's book, social relationships are a big component of a classroom, and without them, it is difficult for progress to be made academically and behaviorally. In saying this, though, I do not think that every student in poverty who is neglected relationally is not automatically going to act poorly, which is what Jensen seems to imply. Chapter 2 also focuses on the role that chronic stress plays in a student's life when it comes to behavior and academic performance. I am by no means an expert on chronic stress, but I know that personally, chronic stress can cause me to act out in ways that I should not. Knowing this and coupling it with Jensen's research and expertise does allow me to see how chronic stress really has the potential to affect anyone negatively, especially students who are still growing and learning how to cope with stressors. I really appreciated Jensen's provision of action steps to help combat stressors in the classroom and stress-related behavior. As far as Chapter 3 is concerned, I found it to be very insightful and interesting. And the fact that brains can change is so important to keep in mind as a teacher and is something that we should remind ourselves of every day. I really liked the fact that Jensen included a list of must-haves for school success in the chapter and also the list of don'ts that he provided in regarding to the updating the brain's operating system. I found chapters 4 and 5 to be incredibly helpful in terms of applying what Jensen talks about in the first 3 chapters into the school and classroom. I really appreciated the SHARE acronym in both chapters. I found both to be something to consider when I do get into the classroom and look forward to implementing both of them, especially the acronym in Chapter 5 as it focuses on the classroom. On the section in Chapter 4, I did have a question regarding the action steps for supporting the whole child. One of the bullet points in the plan is including parents and providing adult support and outreach. My question here is, how do we do this when a majority, according to Jensen, of poor parents are disinterested in the child and neglectful? What does the process look like for capturing the attention of these adults and engaging them? One particular problem that I had with Chapter 4 was the notion, and Jensen may have not been implying this, but I saw it that way, is that teachers are responsible for a child's social status in the classroom. This to me is something that is seemingly out of the teacher's control. The teacher can help prevent bullying and such, but the teacher cannot determine who is popular and who is not. Chapters 4 and 5 had many suggestions for classroom management that I found to be helpful and in line with what we have learned in class. From collaborative learning to strengthening relationship with students and looking for the best in them, Johnson provides a myriad of suggestions to help prevent misbehavior and promote academic growth. One of the strategies he emphasizes the most in chapters 5 and 6 is the implementation of engaging activities and letting students take control of the classroom and have a say what is going on. While I do think that we need to maintain some control of the classroom, it is good, as we have learned, to take student preferences, ideas, and learning styles to heart and use them to create our classroom environment. I firmly believe that this will help combat misbehavior and promote academic growth. Overall, I really enjoyed reading this book and listening to what it had to say on approaching poverty in the classroom. I found the layout and writing style of the book to be easy to follow and read. I believe that Jensen has the credentials to write this book in an informed way, and that his inclusion of research and examples were to the book's advantage and thus the reader's. I have not read many books on this topic, so I do not have much to compare the text to, but I found it overall helpful and insightful.